So, with that being said, everybody's starting to hop on in here. A couple of people in here. Gossip and Heppers, what's up, Negro? What's happening, Negress? When you say Negro as a guy, do you say Negress as a woman? And Gossip and Heppers, Michelle, please call me after this is over. Hassan BK718, what's up, King? What's up with you? You know, I don't know how I feel about King. I know it's a salutation, and you know, sometimes when people call me King, I feel like it's like they're trying to butter me up. I don't know. I feel like, you know, they're trying to kiss my ass because, like, I'm nobody's king. I mean, in my mind, I'm the king of myself, but I mean, I'm not the king of anybody or anything. So when people say, hey, what's up, King? What's going on? Part of me is like, I feel like they're trying to butter me up, but then the other part of me is like, well, maybe I should be thinking about myself as a king. But listen, forget about that. I want to deal with something today because today's show might be a little short. And here's why. Today I went outside, and I don't know if anybody knows, but I'm not really a fan of going outside right now. I just want to be careful. I have diabetes, so even though I'm in the best of health, it still could be an autoimmune situation, and I don't want to play with it. I don't like to joke with it. I don't like to play with it because to be completely honest with you, I'm not making a fucking cent right now, but in my household, I am the money. I am the money, which means that if I get sick, if I get hurt, if anything happens to me, everybody's fucked up. Everybody in the game is fucked up. So, what's up, DJ OG Paulie G? How you doing? Everybody is fucked up. And I am very careful with that. I am very respectful of that because I look at myself as the leader of my entire clan. And I have a lot of people that depend on me, and I don't want to fuck that up. So I'm really, really, really very, very sensitive about my health, about everything that's going on. For an example, when the coronavirus outbreak took place, when it really started to catch steam and they were like, listen, this is really, really fucking serious. I went from being 305 pounds to 270 pounds now, okay? And the reason that I did that is because, and listen, my daughter eats, yesterday she was eating fucking chocolate chip cookie dough. And listen, I watch that chocolate chip cookie dough and I look at it in the refrigerator, and I'm looking at that shit eye to eye, and I'm looking at it and I want it. But you know something, I make a decision within myself that I cannot have that. And here's why. Anybody in my household can get sick, but I cannot get sick. If I get sick, people start losing, okay? And there's not a dollar being spent right now or being made. DJ OG Paulie G, you lost 6 pounds, lose 6 more. If something happens to me, this rent can't be paid. This can't be paid. The car note can't be paid. So with that being said, I am very funny about my health. And I took it way more serious after everything happened with the coronavirus, right? So with that being said, I went outside. And I was driving and my car started sputtering. Bucky Banks, what's going on? The car stops on the side of the road, right? So I'm scared now, like I'm scared. So I turn the car on, and I gotta pull over. I turn the car on, and like I feel it going off, losing control, and I'm wobbling on the side of the road. I pull on the side of the road, and I'm praying. I'm like, yo, please don't let something be wrong with this car. I turn the car on, and somehow I get off the exit, and I get up to Home Depot. And when I get to Home Depot, I go inside to get what I go inside to get what I need. I needed some screws because I needed to screw something in the wall that was very important. And I needed to get my parsley and stuff from the store down the street. So the first place that I could go was the Home Depot, because that was the first thing right off the exit. I got out. I said, okay, let me get the car brake. Maybe something's going on. Let me get a car brake. Cool. I come back and I turn the car on. It's gone. It's down. I don't like being outside for long periods of time right now. That shit makes me very, very, very funny. Like I don't want to be around a lot of people. I don't like doing that. Like I don't want my mask on long enough for me to smell my own breath. I don't like any of that. But now I'm out here in the street. My car's off. I have no power in the car. I have 3% cell phone. First thing I do is I call Tiana. I said, Tiana, listen, I'm stuck at the Home Depot. You know where it's at. If anything happens to me, this is where I'm going to be. So look for me. If anything happened, just look for me over here. She doesn't have her car because she went to college and we gave it back. So there's only one car right now. So then I'm sitting and I'm trying to figure out what to do. Somehow I turn it halfway. It allows me to charge my phone. But now I'm at 6%. So now I'm at 6%. I'm still worrying. I open up the fucking, the hood of the car. I don't even know what the battery is. I don't know what the battery is. I don't know what the oil is. I don't know nothing. I'm just the dude that gets in the car, turn the key on, and drive. So I finally talked to my man, DJ Mr. Vince. He tells me where the battery is. I thought I knew it was the battery, but I wasn't sure. So I go inside the Home Depot, and now I got to pay money to go get one of those battery boosters, one of those things that jumps your car. I buy that, but it has some weird two-prong plug, so you can't plug it into the wall. So what the fuck is, what good is the fucking jumper for the car if you can't even charge the fucking jumper, right? So now I'm saying, shit, I don't have the battery to jump in there. I'm walking around. The people at Home Depot trying to help me. I go back outside. Now I got 2%. I turn the car back on again. Thank the Lord, it starts charging, but the lights are flickering. Everything's flickering. I get to about 4%. I call Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I'm like, yo, Enterprise Rent-A-Car, man, I need fucking help. Please come get me. Please come get me because I cannot get to Enterprise Rent-A-Car to rent the car, right? So Enterprise Rent-A-Car says, all right, fuck it, we'll come pick you up. We know who you are. We'll come pick you up. We'll show you love, blah, 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 whatever, X, Y, and Z, right? The person comes to pick me up in the car. They got a mask on, I got a mask on. But I'm scared as shit now to get in the car because of everything we heard about social distancing. So now I get in the back of the car, and the lady who is renting me the car is in the front of the car. I don't say shit, she don't say shit. I'm holding my breath 90% of the way. I get to fucking Enterprise, I'm blue in the face because I'm holding my breath. I'm like, right? Because I'm scared as fuck to breathe through this mask that has no real protection, and she don't want to do nothing. She damn near got her head out the window. So now she gives me the car. I go back. I drive back down to the tire store where my man is there. I go inside. I say, yo, bro, do you have batteries in here? He said, yo, I got batteries, but they're coming in tomorrow. He said, but you can pay for the battery now, and I got you. I said, what if I can't move my car? He said, don't worry about it. You good with me. I'll come to your house. I'll put it together. When I tell you that 4 hours, that took 4.5 hours, I was outside from 1 p.m. to about 5:30. That was the most ass-clenching, scared to death 5 hours that I have had in my fucking life. In my fucking life. Period. Scared the fuck out of me. Hold on one second. Let me answer a message. Hold on. Let me just tell you something. I'm trying to wait for CC Sabathia right now. Add him. All right. Okay. So. I didn't get to call CC Sabathia from the Yankees. He just so happened to text me now. I didn't know if we were even going to have a show. I will tell you that it's the most ass-clenching 5 hours I've had in a long time because it's one thing to break down with your car, but it's another thing to break down, for your car to break down during a world emergency, and thank you, Pecos. Thank you, Pecos. Pecos, just tell CC to hit me to jump in this Instagram live and then request to be on my live, and then I can come to him. Shout out to Sean Pecos. Sean Pecos right there. A white check right there. That's a big dog right there. Rock Nation Sports right there. Respect that. And I've known Sean Pecos for God knows how long. It's really, really, really fucking scary. I'm gonna tell you, the emotional trauma with not being able to move and knowing that this, whatever virus, disease, or whatever the fuck is out here, and you don't want to be outside, but now you stuck outside, that shit is crazy. So when I got home at about 5:36, I didn't get to call CC. I didn't get to call Sean Pecos. I didn't get to call nobody. I was scared as fuck. Listen, if I could have made if you would have put a penny in between my ass cheeks, I could have fucking I would have gave you back fucking metallic dust, because the whole time my ass was fucking clenched. So I didn't do no news today. I didn't do no topics today. I didn't call CC Sabathia today. I didn't do nothing. I just wound up here at 7 o'clock. Y'all gonna have to bear with me. It just so happens that CC is on the line now, so I'm gonna get to him. This interview, I didn't even know if it was gonna happen. I'm gonna just start by saying that this man right here, okay, what's happening, brother?
What's good?
Let me just get you right. Let me set you up. Turn the light up so I can see your face, brother. I need to see your face. This is one of my favorite pitchers and personalities of the last couple of years Yankees teams. This guy is one of less than 20 pitchers to have 3,000 strikeouts, but you got 250 victories at least, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And the man is from the V. He's from Vallejo, which is the West Coast. Y'all don't know that. Y'all don't know nothing about that. But I've been out there many a time because I was out there kicking it with E40, which we call Fonzarelli, which we call the Water. We call him everything. He's the man who created most of the slang in hip hop, and y'all don't even know. But this man is from the same area which they call the soil. CC Sabathia right here.
What's going on?
How you feeling, brother? What's going on? What's good with you?
Man, quarantining, staying in the house.
Staying in that nice ass house, by the way. I see half of it, but it looked like the Hilton Hotel.
Nah, man, this is my spot where I sit all the time, watching everything, you know what I'm saying? So this, yeah, you kind of like right in with me. This is what I do.
Right, okay. First things first, how are you handling things during the coronavirus? Of course, you're a person who plays sports, so obviously you're really healthy, but what are the things that you're doing with yourself and your family to make sure that you guys just stay on top of everything?
Man, we really are just kind of just staying in the house. Like we go for walks at night, and, you know, kids are doing the homeschool thing and stuff, but we've been in here since about like March 14th.
Mm-hmm.
So we took the kids out a couple days early from school and just been staying out the way. You know, drinking a lot of the hot teas and different things like that to try to stay healthy, but mainly just like, you know, social distancing and staying in the house for real.
What is harder, pitching against the Red Sox or teaching kids that you don't know what the hell their lessons are about and you trying to just wing it? Which one is harder?
Teaching kids for sure. Them teachers need a raise. Every teacher out there in America need a raise.
Because now we know. Because when we used to go to the PTA and they would be like, Johnny is bad, we'd be like, no, Johnny ain't bad. Listen, what you know about, you don't know nothing about my kid, but now we know they're not lying.
Now I know they're not lying about every one of my kids. When they tell me everything about them, now I know for sure because I'm getting it all here. And especially with my youngest, he don't want to do nothing. It's so easy for him. He can just go in there and click a couple buttons, but he right back on his PlayStation.
Right, and so he really at this point, man, we just need to hang it up with the kids school. Come back and see you in October. I personally think that you're a Hall of Fame. Okay, that's my personal opinion. That's what I feel because, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. But my first question for you is this: do you think that the Hall of Fame should just be numbers and that's it, or should it be the writers who vote for it? Because if you put down the numbers and the statistics and what somebody has done, then it makes sense. So why should people have to vote for it? Are you for or against the writers being involved?
No, I definitely think it should just be about numbers. Like you hit a certain amount of numbers, but I also think it should be the best players of the generation. Like, if you see like Andrew Jones you get a chance to see Andrew Jones play, he's a Hall of Famer. Like you see Torrey Hunter play, he's a Hall of Famer. So for me, like I just feel like the best guys of that generation should be in the Hall of Fame, no matter what their numbers are. They go to the All-Star game 10, 12 times, they should be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, so I'm going to say this to you because I know you can't say it, so I'm going to say it. Even though somebody that you played with, like A-Rod, got hit with PEDs and everything, the man was amazing before all of that happened. So I feel he needs to be in the Hall of Fame because his numbers was dope before any of that came through. Do you feel like people need to just kind of let off on the steroids thing because everybody was kind of in the mix of it? Or do you think that, no Hall of Fame?
No, I think that they should let off of it. I mean, when I first came up, I played in the steroid era. You know what I'm saying? So I played with some guys that I felt like you felt like that were on it, but weren't that good. You know what I mean? So whoever guys like A-Rod, whoever they say, I mean, Roger Clemens got 4,000 strikeouts. 4,000, you know what I'm saying? 350 wins or 300 something, you know what I mean? Like, those are Hall of Fame numbers. Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. He's got 700 and, I don't even know, 55 homers. Like, these guys should be in the Hall, to me. That's just my personal opinion because I played through that era.
I think that a guy has to naturally be good to be even better. So I like you said, these people are already Hall of Fame, doing Hall of Fame numbers. If you actually happen to go in, what team do you want to be brought in with?
Yankees for sure.
And why?
Just because that's where I won my championship. I kind of grew up here, like as a player. Like this is where I kind of like everything came together. As a Yankee, getting 3,000 strikeouts as a Yankee, winning the championship, opening up the new stadium. I played here the longest out of anywhere in my career, 11 years. So for me, it'll be the Yankees.
I want to, before I get to some of this other stuff, because there's so many things that I wanted to ask you. I wrote down a list, but anytime I interview sports people, music people I know about, but sports people, I have so many things to ask. And I didn't even write it down in sections. I just wrote it all down. I said, I'm going to shoot it at them. Fuck it. And you'll take it or you won't take it. You made a lot of money in your career, right? So at the time that because I remember that, I was watching that, you got like 100 and some odd crazy $1 million, right? Okay. So now you're the highest paid person on the team. Is the highest paid person on the team, is that the person who's the man on the team? Is the man with the most money the man on the team?
No, not necessarily, because I don't even think I was the highest paid player on the Yankees. I had the highest paid contract to a pitcher at the time.
Okay.
But, I mean, we still had A-Rod, we still had Jeter, and then right after me, Tech signed for 180.
Right.
So, no, but, I mean, when I first came here, it was Derek Jeter's team. He's the captain. And even on the pitching staff, it was Andy Pettitte. He was our leader. Mm-hmm. So it made it easier for me to just kind of slide in and do my thing and kind of grow into that leadership and not have the biggest contract come into a city and then have to automatically be the leader. Like, it was perfect for me to have Jeter, A-Rod, Mo, Pettitte, Posada. Like, it was still all those guys here, so it made it easy for me.
Now, when somebody gets a big contract and the other people, so you got 161 or something like that. Then somebody comes in and gets 325. How do you look at that? Do you look at that and say, well, damn, is there jealousy? Is there quiet jealousy? Is there, what happens? Because now you had the biggest thing and, you were riding high and somebody comes in and it just eclipses them. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, no, that's the beauty of it. And I feel like baseball players, like, we do it more than anybody. Like, you'll see somebody take a big contract with a team, you'd be like, man, why you sign with them? But it's for the next generation of players. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all trying to come behind each other. We understand this free agent thing. So no, I feel proud. You know what I'm saying? That I was able to break the record when I did, and then somebody else came behind me and behind them, and you know what I'm saying? So it just keeps growing.
Do some of the other players that are not so good get a little, because there's a difference between 161 and 38. Do those guys, do you see a little shade, or do you ever feel shade?
It's more shade when you're younger. Like, if you get drafted out of high school and they give you $1 million, then you get shaded in the minor leagues a little more. But when we get to the big leagues and at a certain level, I think people understand, you know, the hierarchy and how it goes. So I don't think it's. I mean, the guy who's making 38 is happy that he's making 38. You know,
Right.
so it's not really a big deal. You don't really see.
Is there because let's take an average job, Walmart. When you go into Walmart, if you're in the employee locker room, dudes are complaining about management, they're complaining about not making enough money and this, that. Do those things happen? Do those kind of things happen on a baseball team? Or is it just everybody's just kind of like pie in the sky because we all get it?
Nah, I mean, yeah, some guys, especially when they're coming up on their contract years.
Mhm.
When you're a free agent, that's the hardest part. Trying to figure out if the team wants you. If you got a family, trying to figure out where you're gonna live. So that makes it kind of hard. And most of the time, if you're a free agent in a small market team, you're gonna get traded because they know that the bigger teams are coming in free agency. So that makes it a little stressful when you start, you know, asking guys what they think. Should I take this? Different deals like that. But only during your free agency years, and you know, for the rest of the time, you sign your contract. You sign your contract. You sign what you sign. So you know, it's not as much complaining as you would think.
Okay, I thought it would be. Speaking of free agency, you are a free agent. You know, I remember that. How many free agency periods did you have during your career?
So I was a free agent after the '08 season. That's when I signed with the Yankees. And then I ended up signing again. I signed two more free agent contracts at the end of my career, the last 2 years, 2018 and 2019. So I was only a free agent 3 times, but it's stressful. Like you think you're gonna be flying around, you got all these different things. Like for me, I was a West Coast dude, so I thought I was going to the Dodgers. I thought, you know, naturally they would offer me a contract, but the Yankees came in, blew them out the water, and you know, impressed me and my wife, and we were like, you know, why not? Let's give it a try. Let's go to Pinstripes. They got a new stadium, and the rest is history. Ended up working out.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. What are some of the things that a team does to lure you to their organization? What do they do?
Um, just whatever you're really into. Like when I had my meeting, they knew I was from the Bay Area. They knew, you know, I grew up an A's fan, so they brought Reggie Jackson. You know what I mean? Like that immediately, you know, it makes you want to be a part of that. It makes you want to be a part of that history, and so that was a big deal. I mean, other teams like I know this year, I think the Yankees bought Garrett Cole a big bottle of wine that he liked. You know what I'm saying? They just try to do whatever they can to impress you and let you know that this can be your home too, just like, you know, wherever you played the last 6 years. Because for us and baseball players, we get so comfortable because we play. You have to play 6 years before you're a free agent, so you get comfortable where you at, and then you know the team's got to lure you into feeling that comfort in their city too.
Okay, now I look at this. I look at free agency as a woman that, as a man, I'm trying to fuck. Right? Okay. Now I'm doing anything that I can do. Okay, but after I get it, it's like, oh, I got it. All right, I've done what I had to do. Up next. Who's next? Next. Is it like that with a team, like where they do all of this work to lure you, and then when they got you, it's like, or does the love, or do they continue with the love?
Nah, they continue with the love, especially if you know, especially if you love it there. If the relationship is working, you playing good, pitching good, doing whatever. You know, I never felt nothing but love from the Yankee organization the whole time I was there. Never felt any shade, never felt anything like that. We never had no problems, and you know that's why I feel like you know I work there now. I'm still an employee. I still, you know, a special assistant to the GM because our relationship was so good.
Right. Okay. So what does it you? Because I know you've called a couple of people. I'm sure you've helped recruit Yankees to come, people to come become Yankees, right?
Yeah.
Does the organization give you an extra little bump piece of money to do that, or is that on the arm?
Nah, that's all trying to win championships. You know what I'm saying? Like you want the best players here. You know what the Yankees are about. We always go out and try to get the best players. So that's why I love being here. But, you know, getting that first ring in '09, we never won again. So it was always, you know, just trying to get better, trying to get better players, recruiting everybody. Yo, come over here. Let's, you know what I'm saying? Let's try to win a championship here. So, that's all just pride as an athlete and, you know, trying to make the organization and the team better to win more championships.
Now you just said that you're the special assistant to the GM, right?
Yeah.
What what made you decide to go and be a part of the front office when you have globs of money, and you really don't need to work what we regular people down here would call down here would call a 9 to 5. What would make you do that? What would make you want to do that?
I kind of want to be in the front office. Like, I'm intrigued by how the process works. Just trying to lure free agents, trying to find different players, trying to find different pitchers. And for me, really, like I want to help in the minor leagues. Like I've done everything good and bad in the game, so I have a lot of experience. I pitched for 19 years, so I want to pass a lot of that along. Like when I got here, Andy Pettitte is the reason why I was able to extend my career for so long, and having him around and being able to talk to him anytime I needed to is a big deal. So I want to be that for Garrett Cole, Jay Happ, Jordan Montgomery, these guys that are down there right now, and just try to help, prolong somebody's career, because that's what it's all about.
What did Andy Pettitte say to you? What did he say to you?
He taught me his cutter, and that was the biggest thing. As I lost velocity, when I first came here, I was 95 to 97. That's how hard I threw. I didn't have to really think through the game. And as I started getting around him, my process just got better, and me being able to think through the game and slow the game down, make better pitches and different stuff like that. So as I started losing my velocity, I naturally just went right to him and was like, what should I do? He was like, I got it. Let me show you the cutter. And honestly, I wouldn't get 3,000 strikeouts. I wouldn't pitch good in 2017 playoffs. And I wouldn't really extend my career after I came back from the alcohol rehab without Andy Pettitte.
What's funny about that, at the time Andy Pettitte was he on his way out, or was he out?
The year he taught me the cutter was his last season.
Okay, so is that like pretty much something that someone would do knowing they're going out? Do young players or players that are the same age, do they teach each other stuff, or do they not?
It depends on who you are. Like, some guys got everything figured out and they don't want to know anything. You know what I'm saying? Other guys like me, I was just hungry for knowledge, and not really. It was just organic the way me and Andy's relationship kind of developed. You know what I'm saying? He's a lefty, pitched here a long time, so naturally I wanted to pick his brain about pitching in New York, and it just turned into a great friendship. Now, he's one of my big brothers, and I can call him for anything at any time.
You said you did a lot of good and a lot of bad at the same time in the league. So let's start with the bad. What would you say that you did that was just bad, that it was no good? What would you say? I wish I could do that over and not do that.
You know what? I don't really have no regrets. Like, I don't have no. I don't want. Like, my story is my story. I would never go back and change anything. But I would learn how to pitch earlier. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I had a lot of stressful games and a lot of stressful stretches of my career, just not really learning how to pitch. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in Vallejo. I played football, basketball, and baseball. I played first base. I played the outfield. So pitching was like something that I could always do really good, but I knew the process of it. So if I could have learned that earlier when I was in Cleveland, maybe I win another Cy Young or something when I was younger. But, it just kind of played out the way it did. And I took my lumps. I had some good years, some bad years, but, it worked out in the end.
You said that, of course, people don't know you grew up in Vallejo, and people who don't know, Vallejo is not no walk in the park out there.
Yeah.
It's definitely not no walk out in the park there. That's as far as the way I saw it, it's the jungle. So how were you able, being a big dude, being a dude, muscular, everything, big, tall dude, somebody that they would want to recruit for the life? How were you able to skirt around that?
I think just because of always the sports. I was always in a park. I was always hooping. I was always playing baseball. Baseball, people don't really know that about Vallejo. Like, it's the inner city. It is what it is. But, like, we have a lot of baseball players that come out of there. Like, if there was a list, I would probably be in the middle of the pack somewhere as far as talent goes. You know what I'm saying? But it is one of those cities where things happen. Different things happen in your life. But just to be around that and have that lineage to follow, like, I wanted to be the guy from Vallejo. And it ended up being this major league career. But it really started with all the athletes that I saw in my hometown.
People, just in case you're tuning in, we're talking to CC Sabathia, one of my favorite Yankees, and that's just off swag. Now, let's forget what he did in terms of pitching. It's just off swag. He used to wear baggy pants, baggy shirt, everything, carried himself like a New York City player. And we do this every night. We interview people, celebrity talk. We do question and answer. We do advice, all of that. So if you're new to this, come join us every night. You talked about your alcohol, going to alcohol rehab. Was that like a result of the pressures that it takes to be a starting pitcher for, of all teams, the Yankees?
I mean, that definitely has something to do with it, the stress of pitching and playing. But, I mean, I think I was just on that course. You know what I'm saying? I started drinking when I was young, and it was something that, just kind of got out of control by 2015. So I was glad that I was able to make that decision on my own. It wasn't, nothing that really swayed that decision. It was just wanting to be better for my family. So being able to make that decision and come out of it on the other end a better person, really helped me out for sure. And hopefully people can look at my story and if they need help, get help, because, it's a real thing for sure.
I remember that day too. I remember hearing the news because, full disclosure, I'm a WFAN head. Like one of the broadcasters on WFAN, like 2 or 3 of them, Steve Summers, John Jastrzemski, all these are like friends of mine. Like I'm a talk radio addict, so I would hear all this stuff, and I heard you went to rehab. What was the thing that was the final straw that made you say, "Wait up, hold on, you know something? I'm doing too much. I got to bring this in. I got to reel this in. I need help."
I think it was just that final weekend. We was in Baltimore. We had just gotten to the playoffs, and we celebrated that Thursday night, and we got on the plane, and I didn't stop drinking until Sunday. So it had just gotten out of control, like for real. And the reason why I did it the way I did it is I probably could have snuck into rehab in the off season and, been all secretive about it, but I wanted to do it out in the open and let people know that I'm struggling with this. So if you see me out, hold me accountable. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't really want it to be a secret. So, it ended up happening the last day of season, 2 days before the playoffs started, but it was a tough decision to make, but ended up being the best decision I can make ever in my life.
You played many, many years. Of course, you played with Cleveland, you played with New York. Who was the most dominant player that you ever played with?
Oh, man. I guess it would have to be A-Rod in his prime, like when he was right. You know what I'm saying? I got a chance to play with Robbie Alomar, Jim Thome.
Alomar was dope.
Alomar was nice. He don't get a lot of Alomar, for me, best second baseman of all time. So it would have to be out of Robbie and A-Rod. Two of the smartest players that I ever played with. Like, one time when I was a rookie, my very first playoff start, we playing against Seattle, and I'm out there in the first inning. I'm throwing the balls around and, can't find the strike zone. I think I gave up a run or two. In the second inning, Robbie comes out to me. He was like, "Don't shake the catcher off no more." He was calling the pitches from second base to the catcher, and he was like, I got the game. You just throw. So, like, for him to be able to call my game from second base in a playoff game, one of the smartest players I ever seen. And
does that happen?
I've never had that ever happen to me again. I've never heard anybody tell that story. But he called my pitch from second base, and ended up going out and having a great game. I didn't give him no more runs the rest of the game. A-Rod would do stuff like he played third base, and I would always walk over to him after I got it out. He'd be like, you might want to throw this guy in right now. He's swinging first pitch. He was just so smart about knowing, hitters' approaches that he would really help me sail through games a lot.
So really, pitch, and I know for sure, I know this because, of course, we do catchers call a game. I always thought that you got up there and you did what you wanted to do. I mean, you kind of did what you wanted to do because it's something that you have to make the final decision about. Do you trust yourself more, or do you trust the catcher more?
Me, I always trust the catcher. Like I didn't want to. I always took like the mental part of it. Like whatever you call, I'm gonna just execute the pitch. You know what I'm saying? So I always trusted. We always went over the stuff before the games, but I always put a lot of trust in my catchers. And having that good, I always had good relationship with all my catchers too, though. So they know how I want to pitch and how I want to be aggressive and how I want to attack the game, just by being close and hanging off on and off the field. That it made it easier.
Okay, so how can you have a shitty relationship with your catcher? Like y'all are all on the same team. You're supposed to be cool. I heard like once or twice that this guy don't like this guy, and this guy will only pitch to this guy, and like, how does that happen? Like,
Stuff like
how can
that.
somebody have that bad of a relationship? All you gotta do is catch the ball and pitch the
Yeah,
ball.
yeah, but the catchers are really the quarterbacks of the team. You know what I'm saying? They have so much responsibility, and a lot of the good catchers know what they're doing. So you get a veteran pitcher in there sometimes, and you get an older catcher. They just might not mesh because they have different philosophies on how they want to use that stuff. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Right.
He always took that out of it. The person I wanted to get close with on any team was the catcher, whether that was Victor Martinez in Cleveland, Jason Kendall in Milwaukee, and Jorge Posada as soon as I got here, and just let them know, how I want to approach the game and how I want to be aggressive, and then we just go from there. You call the game, and I'll execute the pitches.
I know a lot of people are not Yankees fans. I'm a Yankees fan. I go back Thurman Munson, Reggie Jackson, Bucky Dent, Willie Randolph, like Chris Chamberlain. So this ain't me just talking to you like nothing. Like I know I'm a Yankees fan. Speaking of catches and speaking of pitches and people calling games, I know because I heard you be vocal about the whole Astros thing. Do you think that because of the coronavirus, the Astros are now off the hook?
They're probably gonna be off the hook. Like if baseball comes back hopefully by summertime or next year sometime, I think people are gonna be over it. You know what I mean? Had baseball started in April, I think they would have caught hell. But a year removed from it, AJ Hinch will be back, Lunau will be back. So I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal.
If you're just tuning in, we're talking to CC Sabathia, starting pitcher for the New York Yankees, potential Hall of Fame candidate to me. So I'm going to ask you like 2 or 3 more questions. I'm going to get you out of here because there's a lot of people who want to ask questions, but we're not going to get to that. Playing with Derek Jeter. We don't know anything about Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter never said nothing. You never saw him. He never did anything. The guy was perfect. He's like a fucking cyborg. You never saw him smoke weed. He never drank a drink. He never got caught with hoes. Nothing. Like, can you give us something on Derek Jeter? Something. Like, tell us what he was like, what he was about.
You know what?
Nothing.
He's a regular dude, man. Like, funny, competitive, want to bet about everything. But for me to be at the status that he was when I first got here, he was just normal. And that's something that's hard for people to be. And, I could just always appreciate that and appreciate his privacy. Like, we got to be real close. Like I said, I mean, he's one of my big brothers too. Anytime I got anything going on, like the last couple years, I'd be in the dugout or I'd be in the clubhouse mad about something that happened during the game, or I want to go off on the umpires. I'm always talking shit about the umpires. I immediately text G like, yo, like, what should I do right here? And he'd be like, just chill. Like, he always talked me off a ledge. So he's just one of those reliable people, man, and just a real normal, down-to-earth dude that you can hang out with all the time.
Last question. You played with Posada. You played with A-Rod. You played with Cano. You played with, who else? Pettit was on that team. Who else was A.J. Hinch on that? Who was on that team?
The 09 team?
Yeah, who was on that team?
Center, Switchblade right.
Yeah.
We had Johnny Damon.
Yep, Johnny Damon was on that team.
Tex, Posada.
Tex was on that team. Who else was on that? A lot of dudes were on that team. Because you played with that team and you played with the young guys now. So what's the difference? What's the difference between those two groups? And you played, you played with Mariano Rivera.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's something.
Dominant. He's the most dominant player I ever played with.
Yeah, there's something different, man. So he is the most dominant player you ever played with.
Most dominant player, for sure.
So I'm going to ask you this question, and one more question, I'm going to get you out of here. What is the difference between these young guys like Judge and all of these young kids and that core of like the vets of the vets that you played with? What's the difference?
This experience. But if you look at it, and this is why I'm so mad about 17. If you look at it, if we don't get cheated, we probably win, right? And that's Judge's rookie year, which is Derek Jeter won the World Series his rookie year.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just experience, honestly, and we've been through it. You know what I mean? 2017, you know, we won the wild card, but we were the best team in the playoffs. There's no way you can sit here and tell me that we weren't the best team. And, you know, that's why it's just hard that, you know, that those this young core of players would have that same comparison if we win the World Series in 17. It's nothing that's separating them. Right now, this team, this Yankee team this year is ready to win the World Series. They got the most talent, they got the most, and they just signed the best pitcher on the planet. So if we get to play, I feel like they're gonna win.
I'm hoping, bro. I'm hoping. The last question is Mariano, and then I want to talk about your podcast. I want everybody to know about that, and I'm gonna shoot you on out of here like a bullet, bro. Mariano Rivera. I mean, like you said, tell us something about him that we don't know. Tell us something that we wouldn't see. Whether it's preparation, whether it's attitude, whether it's grit, whatever it is, that something that we just wouldn't see and we wouldn't know, that would give us an idea of why he was so good, why he was so dominant, why he was, the pitcher that he was.
He never changed. Whether he pitched good and we just won the World Series, or he pitched bad and he lost the World Series, he was always the same dude. Every day walking through the clubhouse, every day walking into the locker room, he was exactly the same. And I think that was what enabled him to be the most dominant pitcher of all time, with really one pitch. And so the thing about him is he threw one pitch, but he knew how to pitch. Like, he could watch me pitch a game and then show me what I needed to do. You know what I'm saying? At the end of his career, he started throwing a two-seamer. He threw a changeup. Like, he was just, he could do anything on the mound. But the thing about the one special thing that I think about him is that he was always the same. No matter what the pressure was, whether we were playing in April in Kansas City or in October in Philly, he was exactly the same.
The one thing about him, and I'll say this, and I want to talk about your podcast and get you out of here. When Mariano got on the mound, I could turn the TV off.
Yeah,
turn it off.
Game's over.
Turn it off.
That was a good, because when I first got here, it was like because I was always used to trying to finish games, but then I was just like, if I can just get the ball to Mo, like if I go 8 innings, the game is over. You know what I'm saying? It's a wrap. So that was a luxury that we didn't even know we had, until he wasn't there.
The one thing, talking to you, I can tell that you have a style and a way to just be in media, on radio. Of course, you're doing the podcast, and it's natural. So a lot of people don't have that. A lot of athletes, a lot of entertainers, they might be dope at what they do, but they don't know how to put it down in a way that people can just easily understand and absorb. And you have the podcast with Ryan Ruocco, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that for people who want to listen to you and hear more of your stories and more of the stuff that you talk about and you're into. Give us all the information about that.
Yes, it's called R2C2. Me and Ruocco started, I think, in 2017. And we started on the Players Tribune. Now we're on Uninterrupted. But yeah, I mean, you can get the podcast on any platform that you get your podcast. But it's raw. It is what it is. I don't sugarcoat nothing. I tell you the truth. I tell you my stories, and it's been a lot of fun to do because Ruocco is really good. He does a good job with the NBA games that he does. He does a lot of WNBA. He does a lot of Yes Network. So he's got knowledge on a lot of different sports. So it makes it easy for me to just go in there. He's got all his notes, and then I just talk my shit. So it's fun.
Very fun. One final question. What's the worst fight you ever got into in the major leagues? Worst fight that you ever got into with the hands? It got crazy. Was it in the clubhouse or outside on the field?
It had to be outside the clubhouse, but it had to be. I think it was 2009 or 10, and Jorge Posada beat up one of the pitchers for the Toronto Blue Jays, and it kind of spilled over into our dugout. But we had one with Detroit in 2017. That was fun. We had one in Toronto in 2018. That was fun. So
that was fun.
We had one in Boston a couple years ago. That was fun. But them baseball fights be a lot of fun. But you got to keep your head on the swivel.
Why would you want to fight when you got a $161 million body? Why would you want to fight? Because anything could happen. And you saying it's fun, like you saying, oh yeah, it was fun.
Now most of the time, if the right fight can bring the team together, and we had that one in 17, in Detroit, and it just kind of like meshed us and brought us all together, and knew that we all had each other back, and you know we went on that run until we got cheated by the fucking Astros.
Last question, because you made me ask this one. What happens if you're in a fight? You look to your side and you see somebody ain't fighting. How do you feel about that?
And it's fight in the clubhouse, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of, if you look back at the tape, that's kind of what happened with Detroit. Like we were all out there, and we were fighting for each other. And Detroit was kind of, you know, half of them didn't come out. A few of them were arguing with each other inside of there, and it kind of broke up that team.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Again, I want to thank you for coming through, brother. If you need anything from me, of course, you ain't doing no remixes, you ain't doing no music, so there's probably no need. But if you just need me to go, CC Sabathia, CC Sabathia, let's go. You just call me, bro. I'm here for you.
Man, hopefully if I get in Cooperstown one day, we could do that for sure.
Oh, listen, I will be right there, Playboy. I will be right there. And I want to just thank you again for coming through. I really appreciate you, brother. I'll check you later.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. That's my man right there, CC Sabathia. Great interview. I'm a sports fan. I'm a sports junkie. And again, people, if you're in here and you're new to this show, we do this every night. I talk news. We do opinion. I do the letter of the day, advice, all kinds of stuff. So just make sure that you come and join and follow me at Fat Man Scoop every night at 7 p.m. If you like shirts, these shirts, I sell them on www.fatmanscoop.com. I got fuck coronavirus. I'm social distancing, quarantine and chill, all that kind of stuff like that. We will be back tomorrow. We're going to have some therapists come in because we want to talk about your mental health and your well-being, because this shit got everybody on the ropes. And I consider myself a tough motherfucker, and I'm on the fucking ropes. I'm on the ropes. I'm at my wit's end. From the financial side to the personal side to not being able to see your loved ones, all that. So we're going to have some therapist people and some relationship people come through tomorrow. Thursday is Missy Elliott. Friday, I'm working on Teddy Riley to come in and join us. And Saturday, I'm working on Charlamagne the God. So this should be a really, 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 really good week. If you have any ideas for the show, you have any questions, whatever, show at fatmanscoop.com. I will see you guys tomorrow. Y'all be safe. Take it easy. Stay up. In Jesus' name, en el nombre de Jesucristo.